Hey, what's going on, guys? Steve Waitress here. And today what we're going to be doing is walking through a quick demo of the support capability, which is part of the DevRev platform. Now, obviously, support is a very, very critical thing nowadays when we start thinking about customer retention, how to ensure that customers are happy, right? The happier the customer is, the more inclined they are to, one, support your product, purchase your product, as well as promote your product. And so I think you're seeing a lot of reinvigorated focus on the support front. So right now for this demo, I'm going to start it out as the persona of a support engineer, right? So I'm on the battlefield handling customer requests, triaging things, what be it. So this is my inbox view. So if I zoom in here, you can see a few things. One, I can see that I have 4 conversations taking place. But more importantly, these are coming from a multitude of sources. And this is an important thing. Support is not only email or phone or, chat. It's really across all of those various mediums. And that's one of the nice things with this platform is irrespective of whether I, send an email to get support, I could, in that same thread, get support via chat, right? And so, it kind of comes back to one of the sayings, which is, bring your support to where your customers actually are. If they're in your app, bring them chat support. If they're in their inbox, bring them email-based support. And that pluggability and portability is very important. One of the other things to note here is for this customer conversation, we have an SLA target. Now, SLAs obviously, when it comes to support, are very, very important just because these are, things that we need to meet contractually. And so depending on the tier of support, who the customer is, as well as the problem that they're facing, you could have various or different SLA targets here. So that's a brief overview of the inbox. One of the things I'm going to do now is actually shift context or personas and show you what it looks like to be an end user. So here we have our Maple Software, quote unquote, company, which is a demo company that provides SaaS services for, things like billing, payment, services, etc. Now, one of the keys to highlight here is in this lower left-hand corner, I can see our plug widget. The plug widget is essentially a chat widget which you can deploy in your application, whether it's a mobile app, a web app, what be it. So very pluggable and portable. So here you can see that I have a few previous conversations as Elon Tusk. And to demonstrate how to initialize another conversation, I'm going to go ahead and show that to you now. So I'm going to go ahead and send a message. I'm going to say, so one of the first things to highlight here is obviously I sent my message to the system, to the support inbox. But before a user or a support engineer actually responded, the system automatically deflected that. Now, if you look at traditionally, deflection would be, rule-based and look for keywords and be very, very rigid. However, one of the things we built into the platform is an AI capability called DevRev Turing. So for this functionality, it's actually using context about the user's query, context and detail about the user, as well as potentially, external information like logs and things that the application's generating. And it's feeding that into an AI service very similar to what people see with ChatGPT. And then based upon that context, providing a recommendation. So in this scenario, I sent a message about a payment dispute. And it actually gave me a reference to a knowledge base article as well as a link, including some summary information. Now, in certain scenarios, this may solve that problem. And that's awesome, because me as a user or a support engineer, I didn't have to do anything. And that's one of the key themes of the system is, offload the burden or onus from the user and push it onto the system. Leverage an intelligent system to make your life as a customer as well as user much more efficient. And so this is one example. Now, just for the sake of this demo, I'm going to say that this did not solve my problem. In some cases, it actually will. And I'm going to input my stack trace that I'm seeing in this scenario. So here I went ahead and set that stack trace. Now what we're going to do is we're going to switch back to the support engineer's persona. Now in my inbox, I can see that conversation that was started by quote unquote Elon Musk. So now let's go ahead and click on that conversation. Now, as a support engineer, I may or may not have seen this stack trace before, but this looks like something that is outside of my control. So I'm actually going to escalate this up into a ticket. So I go here to link tickets, and then I'm going to go ahead and create a new ticket. I'll input the title. And one of the keys here is you can see that there are some similar work items. And so, the system has that intelligence to see things that are very similar and may actually make more sense to link as compared to creating a new item. In this scenario, we're just going to go ahead and create a new ticket. And because this has to do with our pay service, I'm going to select our pay feature to create this ticket under. So here what you can see is I have all the history in regards to the initial customer inquiry, and then I escalated that up into a ticket. Now, I want to see if this is actually a common problem or if anyone else is having the problem. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to search. So here we can see that there are a few tickets associated with this as well as an issue. Now, issues are things that developers are actually working on. So if there was a bug or a defect or a new functionality, they would be working on these issues, no different than you would in a traditional engineering work management platform. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. And here, something right off the bat looks very, very familiar. So if I look at this description for this particular bug or issue, I can see that this stack trace is the exact same stack trace that my customer is seeing. Now, if I go up here, I can see that, it looks like it's a P3, so it hasn't been prioritized. And it's currently in backlog. Now, I saw my customer had this problem, and I saw that there were a few other tickets. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to this engineer and see what's actually going on here, because this may be more widespread than we think. So here I'm actually going to go ahead and start a huddle. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to invite a few people here. So in this scenario, it looks like there are a few users which are actually actively involved in working on this. So I'm going to go ahead and invite these users here. Hey, what's going on in India?
Hey, Steve.
Hey, how's it going, man? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen out here. It looks like there's an issue assigned to you that my customer is actually facing the same problem. So let me go ahead and share this with you. It looks like they're getting a stack trace for the payment API where there's it's throwing a 404 due to a nil pointer reference. Is this something that you're familiar with?
Yeah, I actually saw this in one other stack trace for some other customer. So I'm pretty sure this is happening across the board.
Okay, interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, no, definitely interesting. So it looks like right now it's just in backlog and a P3. Is this something that you could help out with and hop on and start handling?
Yeah, this definitely looks like a bigger problem and the blast radius is pretty big. So I'll start working on it. I know it's a P3 right now. I'll bump up the priority. I'll let the team know that I'm prioritizing this over the others, and I'll start working on it.
Perfect. No, thanks again. Yeah, I got to make sure this customer's happy. So appreciate you hopping on this and starting to work on this on a minute's whim. I may get in trouble for showing this little hangout functionality or feature just because it's supposed to be hidden right now. But this is pretty awesome. We didn't go to Slack, did we? Where are we? We're in the DevRev app, right?
No, yeah, we are in all DevRev. Yep.
Nice. No, good stuff, man. All right. Well, yeah, thanks again in India. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions from the customer. Obviously, you can see the associated conversation history and logs. But yeah, let me know if you need anything from me, man, and definitely appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for helping our customers, Steve. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, that's my job.
Thank you.
So there you can see all natively within the DevRev app. I didn't have to switch contexts. I didn't have to go to Slack. I didn't have to, dial someone. I could literally just start a quick huddle there with the engineer working on the issue and get some feedback from him to help prioritize this issue. And so because this is related, I'm actually going to go ahead and link this issue to this ticket. So that's issue 561. Cool. That looks good. Now, one of the keys to highlight here is when I look at this view, I can see the initial customer inquiry, right? And in that, I can see that the DevRev bot is actually automatically updating status for me when tickets are linked, when issues are starting development. And that's a very important thing. I didn't have to send these status updates. The system is actually propagating and sending those updates to me automatically. So here I can see the customer inquiry. I can see my escalation, which I'm working on. I can see the linkage to the issue. And I can actually, see that India has started working on this problem. And as he, progresses through that CI/CD flow, those status updates will propagate to my ticket as well as to that conversation without me having to do anything. And that visibility, we can't harp on that enough. That visibility, that automatic state transitioning, as well as notifications, having the system do that makes my life as a support engineer so much easier. Now, one of the things that has kind of been visible here, but hasn't really been pointed out, is if I look at this, I can see the associated customer. So now I'm going to go ahead and view this customer account. So in here, I can see we have a customer account for Umbrella Corporation. Obviously, a lot of people seem to be fans of Raccoon City or Resident Evil. But underneath here, I have visibility in regards to, obviously some internal conversation and discussion here. But also, currently active conversations, who the users are, as well as what tickets they currently have with us. And so here, let's go ahead and take a look at all these tickets. So in this scenario, we can see that this customer in particular has about 12 tickets. But this is just one of my customers. So let's go ahead and take a look at tickets for all customers. Here you can see there's a lot of tickets, right? There's a lot of stuff going on. I may have 5,000 tickets. And so one of the key things that we introduced was leveraging that same artificial intelligence that we leverage for deflection, as well as a few other things. We added the ability to group things based upon similarity. So now you can see, instead of having, a list of 40 distinct tickets, the system automatically clusters those into common themes. So here we can see very frequently I'm seeing a lot of payment and API issues. I can see there's a payment dispute, 404 error. There's some network problems. I need some Slack payment integrations. And so, rather than, having all that noise, I can see what the actual real problems and priorities and common problems that my customers are facing. And this is a very, very important thing. It's all about cutting down noise and providing visibility. If we can provide as a system visibility and clarity, it makes everyone's lives easier. The ability to leverage DevRev Turing to automatically cluster your tickets into chunks or common items, which you can then use to prioritize adequately. Now I'm going to hop back over to my ticket. And one of the things is, I want to summarize this kind of ticket experience, right? I may be obligated to send this to my user or customers, but just for internal clarity, I want to make sure that we have a summary of the events that actually took place here. And so that's where, leveraging that same Turing AI offload, I can actually automatically summarize the conversation. And so one of the things that we added was this summarize command. And essentially what this does is this leverages the exact same DevRev Turing artificial intelligence that we leveraged and highlighted throughout multiple pieces of this demo. But it will look at the actual history, the series of events, as well as provide a synopsis on what actually happened and what the resolution was. So in this scenario, it actually shows that the user was having a problem with a payment dispute. And then based upon the log message the customer actually sent me, it extracted the exact method and object that was having the problem, right? And, obviously there's a blurb that it was traced back to, various components of the system. Obviously we saw that pay feature was having some problems that in India was working on. So by leveraging these artificial intelligence offloads, not only can we provide much better visibility, but we can also provide extreme efficiency, right? So in that deflection scenario, I may not have actually had to do anything as a support engineer. And that makes me much more productive. Rather than having to go through my case history here or my conversation history, the system actually automatically summarized that for me. And again, a very, very powerful thing about this platform is it can do all that stuff for you. So, just a very short demo for you today, but I hope you enjoyed it. We obviously have a lot of very cool stuff. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for showing that Hangout thing. But a lot of cool stuff in the pipeline. So definitely stay tuned and we'll show you some sweet stuff soon.